Emotional abuse is when one person constantly belittles, manipulates, intimidates, or keeps another under psychological pressure. There's a reason people say that a blow to the body can heal, but words that wound the soul can leave scars that don't fade for years. You're good for nothing. Everyone avoids you. Without me, you're nothing. These are not words of love. They are tools of control, manipulation, and psychological destruction. Emotional abuse is often invisible. It is quiet but destructive. Sometimes it's in a look, sometimes in a single sentence, and sometimes in long, heavy silences. It doesn't just happen in romantic relationships. It can occur in families, friendships, at work, and across various layers of society. And the scariest part is that many people live with this abuse for years, without even knowing what to call it. No one would ever want you. It's all your fault. You always mess things up. These words don't just hurt. They strip away a person's self-esteem, sense of worth, and joy for life. Emotional abuse slowly erases a person's identity, crushes their spirit, and leaves them feeling alone. It may not leave physical marks, but it causes deep internal damage. It breaks a person from within. What does the victim feel? Doubt, endless questions, fear, thoughts like, maybe it really is my fault, or maybe I'm just too sensitive, start to eat away at the mind, because the abuser shifts all the blame onto you, distancing you from your own reality. This isn't just an attack on feelings, it's a destruction of your ability to recognize and love yourself. But how widespread is this kind of abuse in our lives? Just think, how many people are trapped in toxic relationships, thinking it's love? How many are emotionally abused by a parent, spouse, colleague, or friend, yet can't even name it as abuse? The most painful part is that many confuse this abuse with love. The silence, the hurtful words, the constant criticism, and attempts to control your life. These are not love or care, and you can escape this psychological prison. It's not easy, but it is possible. Breaking free from emotional abuse is the first step toward freedom. Remembering your self-worth, surrounding yourself with people who uplift rather than break you. This is the turning point. The first question that arises is, why do people stay in such relationships? Why do they endure this pain? Because the abuser mixes love with harm. One day they crush you, the next they say, I love you. It becomes a maze for the brain and the heart. The most dangerous part, the abused person begins to think it's their own fault. But the first thing you must do is recognize the situation for what it is. Naming the problem and acknowledging how it affects you requires great courage. But it's the only path to freedom. For many, the fear of being alone is stronger than the fear of staying in a toxic relationship. I mean, if I leave them, who else would want me? Who would want me? Can I handle life on my own? Thoughts like these can be even more frightening than the abuse itself. For some, family pressure, societal expectations, and the fear of being labeled as divorced, separated, or problematic keep them chained in place. Especially for women, thoughts like, I must endure this for the sake of the children, or I can't let the family fall apart, cause them to forget themselves. But they forget this truth. A strong relationship is not built on silent suffering, but on mutual respect and trust. They doubt themselves, thinking, maybe I am the problem. The abuser knows your weak spots well and uses them against you. Every time you express dissatisfaction, it's labeled as being too sensitive, overreacting, or creating drama. Over time, you begin to believe it. Maybe I do complain too much. Maybe I really am a difficult person. Maybe I just don't understand them. This is the most dangerous point of emotional manipulation, when you no longer trust your own feelings. And this lack of trust pulls you deeper into a trap you can't see your way out of. They hope maybe they'll change. Maybe this time will be different. This is the most destructive illusion. If the abuser behaves well for a few days or weeks, you convince yourself they've changed. Your brain clings to those few good memories and says, but they weren't always like this. They can be kind. They're just stressed, tired, or had a tough childhood. Forgiveness and hope are beautiful qualities, but tolerating repeated abuse is a betrayal of yourself. The chances you give only make the abuser more comfortable, because they know that no matter what they do, you'll stay. Fear, doubt, and hope. These are the three chains of abuse. They hold people silently for years. But just because these chains make no sound doesn't mean you can't feel them. If you see your own life in these words, this is your awakening. You can break these chains, because real love does not create fear, it gives freedom. Abuse doesn't change. It may be delayed or hidden for a while, but eventually, it repeats. If someone repeatedly breaks you, then ask for forgiveness, only to break you again. This isn't coincidence. It's a cycle, and you must break free from it. Remember, no one deserves to disappear inside a relationship. You were not created by chance. Inside you is value, life, and potential, and no one has the right to crush that. If today is difficult, that doesn't mean tomorrow will be the same. You can begin to love yourself again. Your voice may have been silenced for a long time, but it's still there, and you can hear it again. So this raises an important question. What should you do? 2. Speak up. Share with someone you trust. You don't have to carry this burden alone. 3. Seek support. A therapist, a support group, books. There are many paths to help you. 4. Set boundaries. Every time you say no, you are taking a step to protect your soul. 5. Remember yourself. Remember who you are, what you deserve, and what you want from life. At the same time, staying in a relationship that belittles you, scares you, or silences you is not your responsibility. No one has the right to justify abuse in the name of love. You were made for love, but love for yourself comes first, because someone who truly loves themselves would never settle for the absence of love. So what should you do to recognize this situation? The first step, open your eyes. Because emotional abuse often happens silently, invisibly, and in subtle ways. They don't hit you, they don't yell, but inside you're falling apart. You start to think it's normal, but it's not. It's poison, a poison that seeps into your soul. If you're experiencing these signs, this is not love. This is emotional abuse. You are constantly blamed. No matter what happens, it's always your fault. Their anger is your fault. Their silence, rudeness, coldness, all somehow your fault. Even if they cheat on you, in the end, you feel guilty. Nothing you do is enough. You do everything you can, and you show care. Try to be understanding, change yourself, stay silent, but it's never enough. It feels like you're constantly being tested. And no matter how right your answers are, you're always told you failed. You live in fear. You weigh every word. If I say this, will they get mad? You check every message. Will this hurt them? Even when they're not around, you don't feel free. This is not love. This is control. This is captivity. You're ashamed of thinking for yourself. There's no room for your thoughts anymore. You're ashamed to say, this is how I feel. You're afraid to say, I don't want this. So you go silent, because when you speak, you're either humiliated or mocked. You've forgotten your worth. You were once strong, full of dreams, laughter, and plans. Now it seems you exist only to endure. You no longer ask, what do I want? You just try to guess what they want and adjust yourself accordingly. And you need to know, none of this is normal. What's normal is a relationship built on respect, understanding, and appreciation. What's normal is a love where you can express yourself, feel safe, and be heard. Staying in a relationship that silences you, diminishes you, frightens you, and ignores your existence is not love, it's losing yourself. If you recognize these signs in your life, don't blame yourself. This is not your fault. This is a disguised form of abuse. If all of this is happening, you're already at a breaking point. Maybe there's a voice inside you saying, I can't take this anymore. Maybe every night as you lie in bed, you hope, maybe tomorrow everything will change. But it doesn't. You're burning out. You're falling apart from within. And change doesn't begin with a grand revolution. It begins with a quiet awakening. I don't deserve this. That sentence is a soft but powerful act of rebellion. It's the beginning of valuing yourself. If this relationship is crushing your spirit, silence won't fix it. Abusers rely on your silence. They count on you not speaking up, not resisting, looking the other way. But you will not change things through silence. You'll change them through action. The first step, acceptance. Yes, this relationship is unhealthy. Yes, this is abuse. Yes, I am suffering, and that is not normal. Acceptance means facing the wound, and every healing begins by facing it. The next step, get support. Remember, you're not alone. There are people who will understand you, listen to you, validate you. A friend, a therapist, maybe a teacher, maybe someone you trust. Sometimes one conversation, one hug, one "I understand you" can change your whole life. Seeking help is not a weakness. On the contrary, it's the greatest act of courage. Because now, you're no longer focused on fear, you're focused on your life. Remember this, you are valuable. No one should be close enough to make you forget your worth. No one has the right to crush your spirit or take away your freedom. And you, no matter how broken you feel, can rebuild yourself. Because you always have the power to choose. And one of the most important choices is this. You must return to yourself. For years they silenced you. They told you, you're worthless. You can't do it. No one will ever want you. And at some point you started to believe them. That was not your fault. Because abuse is a silent manipulation carefully designed to make you believe it. But now, it's time to wake up. Abuse tries to break you. It wants to make you feel weak, scared, and needy so that you'll doubt yourself. Because the weaker you feel, the more power they hold. But you are as strong as a mountain. Inside you there is a willpower, a resistance, a rebirth you haven't even fully discovered yet. That strength is what brought you this far. And now, it will bring you back to yourself. You can't erase your past, but you can shape your future. Yes, what happened happened. You were hurt. You were exhausted. You believed, you fell, but you are still here. That means you're alive enough to hear these words. And every breath is a new beginning. Your past can teach you, but the pen that will write your future is in your hands. What should you do? Write. Pour your emotions onto paper. Start even with one sentence. I am stronger now. Read empowering stories, books on healing and emotional freedom. You are not alone. Talk to a friend, a therapist. Move, walk, breathe, go outside. Remind yourself that you are alive. Seek stillness. Pray, meditate, listen to music. Calm your soul. And most importantly, love yourself again. Remember that version of you who used to smile. Remember your dreams, your goals, and the child hiding inside you. You deserve love, respect, and happiness. And that love must first come from you. Value yourself. Respect yourself. Embrace yourself and say, this time I won't lose myself. This time I'll live for me. You might wonder, how would Stoics act in situations like this? Naturally, they would approach everything with patience to understand the essence of the matter. But patience here doesn't mean enduring abuse. The Stoics said, it is not events that hurt us, but our reactions to them. Those who experience abuse often either explode or freeze. So what's the Stoic approach? Step back, observe, analyze with compassion, but also with clarity. Why am I feeling this way? Is this a reaction from an old wound? Or is this the true reality of the present moment? These questions shift you from reaction to reflection. Recognize your boundaries and express them silently, but clearly. The Stoics were firm on the issue of boundaries. They said, your character is sacred. Don't expose it to just anyone. That doesn't mean you should be aggressive. On the contrary, for your safety and your worth, you must quietly but firmly learn to say, this is where it ends. Look with empathy but don't lose yourself. Maybe the other person is also struggling with their own trauma. It's important to recognize that. But the Stoics said, forgive, understand, but don't let them destroy you. You can feel sorry for someone who transfers their pain onto you. But sacrificing yourself is not compassion. It's a slow collapse. Don't forget to work on the inside, because change on the outside is impossible without it. Epictetus said, freedom comes not when we seek it outside, but when it begins within. Will the relationship change? Maybe. But first, you must recognize your position, your needs, and your worth. Without that, neither dialogue, nor healing, nor even separation can truly fall into place. When you ask yourself, should I stay? Think like a Stoic. Does this relationship harm my inner worth? Can I stay true to my principles in this situation? Does this relationship make me a better person, or does it diminish me? The Stoics taught us to make decisions not based on external pressure, but on internal logic and conscience. Yes, Stoic philosophy teaches patience, but never at the cost of your self-worth. A Stoic is someone who doesn't lose their direction even in the middle of the storm. They don't scream, they don't beg, they speak by standing firm, because they know true strength is the pride that stands silently. If there is love in a relationship, there must also be respect. But if under the name of love there is fear, then being Stoic is not about continuing to endure. It is about drawing the boundary of patience. Remember, you may be calm, but you are not invisible. You may be understanding, but you are not a victim. And you are worthy of love, but not at the cost of losing yourself. This is the highest form of Stoicism, the silence of someone who knows their worth. With this silence, you can free yourself from emotional abuse, quietly, calmly, and with confident steps into the future. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share your thoughts in the comments. See you again soon.